Hi, in this video I want to talk about posture. Posture is one of the key fundamental things that makes somebody be able to hit the ball well consistently. If you maintain a good posture throughout the swing, there's a very good chance you'll get the club back to the ball where you're trying to. So posture is all about maintaining a fairly straight back when you tip forward to hit the golf ball. One of the hardest things about golf is the fact that you're tipped forward when you're trying to make quite an athletic movement through with a lot of speed to a fixed point. Almost in a way, if golf was played with the ball up here and you had to stand bolt upright, people would make generally a more consistent and easy natural move up here than they would when they're asked to tip forward. Because when you're standing in a tip forward position, that's not a natural position for a human being to be in. We don't like doing that. We do that when we're trying to get through a cramped tight space and we're ducking down. Basically, that position there, we don't like being in that. It starts to hurt our back if we stay in that position too long. So what I see in beginners a lot of the time is they'll take up some sort of forward leaning position. It might not be exactly correct, and I'll get onto that in a second. But what happens is, during the swing, that position goes back to a more comfortable standing position. So to be asked to make a powerful move and not lift your back out of position, that's a difficult thing to do. So what a lot of people do is they stand up as they go back. And you see that a lot when people start the game, that they stand up in the backswing. And so basically what you've got to try and imagine is that you've got a fixed position here. So the movement is all around that fixed position. So basically one of the best things to think about is the swing robots that they have for hitting and testing golf clubs and balls. And that's a big metal bit of structure that comes out of the ground, is fixed into the ground, and then it shoots off this way, like at the angle of your back. And then the only bit that moves is underneath, is the bit that's hitting the ball. So this can't physically move. Now we're flesh and blood and we move a little bit, and that's why we get inconsistencies with strike a lot of the time. But you're effectively trying to achieve that sort of fixed position. So when you stand up to the ball, you want your back to be comfortably straight. You've got to imagine bending from the very top of the hips, get your chin up, and then your legs straight to start with, and just tip forward from the top of the hips till the club hits the ground. And your arms should just be hanging down naturally and lightly and loosely in front of you. Your knees there, just release the tension, and that's you ready to go. Now, the distance that you should be away from the ball with your hands and arms could vary even with good posture. So it could be out here, or I think that's a separate issue. What I would always say as a rough guide is an outspread hand like that from your belt buckle should be maybe where the top of the grip is. Or if you look at it like here, set up, get ready and put the club onto your left leg. If it's 3 or 4 inches above the kneecap, you're about right. And if you look at that there, 3 or 4 inches above the kneecap from there, if you go too far away, then that's going to hit you below the knee, or if you're too close, about hitting you really high up near the top of your pocket. So that's a way to judge how far away to stand. But really that could still be wrong even if your posture is good. So posture is really what we're talking about here. So again, belt, hands width away from a belt buckle, straight back, chin up, tip forward, take the flex out of the knees, and that's you ready. Now, what I always think helps people maintain their posture in the backswing and stops them lifting up is if you think about where the weight is on your feet. So if you think about the weight being forward on your toes a little bit, so on the balls of your feet. So you're not off the ground like this, but you are slightly forward. And your knees and weight should be slightly in this way, pointing in. So you've got slightly almost verging on knock-kneed. So you're in there, you've got a nice stable base, your weight's forward. And as you go back, you try and imagine keeping that weight on the fronts of your feet. So don't let it go on to the heels. Because if you go onto the heels, that invariably means you're going to lift up out of it. So try to keep the weight forward. Here, you're up, I'm still forward, and my back position hasn't changed. And then it makes sense that if I do that, I'll come straight back down to where I started from. And that's the key. If you lift up like this, then you're guessing how much you need to come down to get the ball. It's often very steep, over the top, things like that. So, but the main problem is not quite getting down low enough to the bottom of the arc. So if you achieving good posture, maintaining good posture in the swing gives you a really good chance of hitting the ball well. So if I hit one here where I'll show you, I'll lift up deliberately in the backswing and I will genuinely try and hit the ball and see what happens. So we go up, and I topped it. I'm not even sure that'll register. Oh, it did register. And it went 12 yards because I hit the top of the ball. And I was trying my best to hit it, and it's very, very difficult. When you lift up and go back down, it's difficult to get to the ball. Any up or down movement in a golf swing is bad. Side to side, lateral, not great either if it's too much, but almost less destructive than up and down. Up and down can cause you completely to make a fool of yourself if you're not careful when you're starting off. So if I go down into that good position again, a little bit of knee flex there. Now let's really test myself, see if posture really is important. I'm going to shut my eyes just before I hit. So we're ready to go. Shut the eyes. That was eyes closed, trust me. Not my absolute best shot, and I wouldn't recommend hitting it with your eyes closed. But it's gone a lot further, 156, and I got a good strike. I got it up in the air, so obviously got to the bottom of the ball. So it shows how key posture is, that if in theory you could hit it with your eyes closed, but basically all you're doing is coming back to the same position. Right back to where you started. And one of the best things you can do about that is to maintain this height that you're at. So you're at a certain height like this, you're trying to swing around that and back down to the ball. And one of the other benefits of posture, good posture, is the fact that it enables your shoulders to turn around your spine more efficiently. It's just the way we're constructed. Whenever you get people to try and show them how a backswing works, for example, you'll get them to stand up, turn back, and the shoulders, even on the most inflexible people, tend to come almost right the way round in front of the chin. And this arm stays nice and straight and all the rest of it. As soon as you try that with a hunched back position, then this arm starts to look more bent. You don't get as far round. It doesn't work as well. And that's what you invariably see when you're looking at somebody with bad posture or higher handicap. Will settle down into the shot with a hunched back and shoulders in towards each other, and then that rotation of their shoulders doesn't happen as easily. You start to get bent left arm, you start to get the club picking up, you get all sorts of things which add up to a bad shot. So try your best. Not everybody will be able to have a sort of ramrod straight back, and it doesn't really have to be. It can be as comfortably straight as you can manage. I mean, even somebody like Tommy's Fleetwood looks almost slightly rounded at the very top of his back, but most of his back is really quite straight, and he maintains his position really well. So have a think about it and see if you can get into that position and then maintain it by keeping your weight on the fronts of your feet and swinging through the ball. And the more you do that, the more you practice and play, the more that becomes second nature, staying, and you don't end up having to think about it. But when you're starting off or you're struggling with striking or something like that, sometimes good to go back to basics, get your posture right, keep your weight forward, and try and imagine keeping your posture, and your shoulder turn might improve as well. So I hope that helps. If you've got any questions, just pop them in the comments and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching.